And then for me to really be able to work and talk to people, I had to smoke, like Bhang. I smoke and I feel very well.
You feel very
you feel energized.
Yeah.
Like, and you can face anyone, whoever comes. You know how it's difficult to deal with the drunkards.
Yeah.
So this time you like charged, you're like, hey, zaeli pa pesa ama tukutoe.
Good evening and praise the name of the Lord. We appreciate you for joining us on this Gorgeous Woman show on CTN TV. My name is Reverend Ruth Wamoyo, and as always we endeavor to bring to you guests that will inspire you. The stories of these gorgeous women are not just a testimony that God is able, but He is also able to deliver you and to make your life better. My guest today is none other but Irene Minor. It's a very sad story that ends well, a story of addiction to marijuana, to getting to a place of depression, paralyzed for some months until God restored her. So just stay put as you hear her story. Make sure you share with your friends and family, and of course subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Covenant Television Network, and Reverend Ruth Wamoyo. So welcome so much, Irene. It's good to have you. Let us see a smile on your face. A gorgeous woman always has a smile on her face.
Sure.
Karibu sana. So how did you get to know about Gorgeous Woman?
I am a fan of your show.
Yes.
And I normally watch CTN TV.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you wrote me on email, and that's how we got to interact. And thank you for being courageous enough to come. So just tell us a bit more about you, where you come from, what born are you, basically whether you're born again.
Okay. Okay, I'm the fourth born, or the last born actually.
The last born. That's why you're very calm and collected. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and I'm from Kenya. Kenya, I think this time the way they divided it, it's falling in like Kipia.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm born again.
Amen.
I love Jesus.
Amen.
And I'm a businesswoman. I deal with men's clothing.
Ah, awesome.
Yeah, and I'm a worshiper and a songwriter.
And a songwriter.
Yeah.
Those are several hats on one person. But the goodness is that when God wants to trust you with great responsibilities, He always takes you through some training. And that is why we are here. And just tell us a little bit, are you married? How is your love life?
I'm not married. I'm a single mother. I do have a son.
Okay. How old is your son?
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah.
Good. Is there a story behind it, or it's for another day?
Maybe we'll go through it. Just it didn't work.
It didn't work?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see the red flags when it all began, or it just came as a surprise to you?
Let me say it was just a surprise.
It was a surprise?
I didn't see it coming.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. So where did you go to school? And just a bit about yourself.
Okay, I was born in the countryside. I grew up there. I went to primary school at a shule called Kamirori Primary School. Kamirori.
Kamirori?
Like whistles.
Like
Yeah, Kamirori, and then I went to Tumtum Girls.
Oh, that's a nice school too.
Yeah, and then when I finished school there. Then later, maybe afterwards, that's when I went to college.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I'm a chef too. I learned how to cook.
You learned how to cook? Oh, I wish I knew that look for a kitchen, and then we talk over a meal.
Yeah.
Wow. So have you practiced as a chef or not yet?
Yeah, I have. I've worked, I was working in Kengeles. There is one Kengeles that was here in Koinange Street.
Yes.
Yes, I've also worked in 680. I've also worked in Crown Plaza.
Yes.
In Upper Hill.
Ah.
Yeah.
And now still selling men's clothing.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Wow. Our viewer, that's a brief story of my guest, Irene. You're going to hear the rest of the story. As you can hear, she's multi-talented. And probably that is why she had to go through all that she may be an encouragement to you. Don't touch that dial. See you after the break. So welcome back, our viewer. As I indicated earlier, my guest is Irene Minor, and she's such a wonderful soul. And I'm trying to now figure out, because you look very like laid back, but then when I hear your story, it's so different. So you've been a chef, you're a business lady, you sing, you write, all that in one person. So how do you manage all that, all those talents on the inside of you, or how do you prioritize?
Okay, I would say maybe like when it comes to cooking, I was pushed by circumstances. I had to look for something that I can say like this is exactly what I've been doing, maybe to earn a living at that moment. And considering I was already in the hotel industry, so I opted for to do the catering thing, the chef thing. And then later, when I got born again, that's when I asked myself, like I was really praying and asking God, how do I serve you? Like, how do I do it? But then I really loved to sing. Even when I was young, I would pick a stick and then I'm facing the wall and I'm just singing and singing. Nice. So I just said, hey, maybe I should try this one too. And
so have you written any song?
Yeah, I have.
You could touch on one of them, one of your favorites?
There's one, it's on YouTube. It's called Sifa. Can I sing?
Yes, please.
It says, uinuliwe we usiyeshindwa, sifa hizi zote ni zako, uabudiwe wewe muweza wa vyote, sifa hizi zote ni zako.
Wow. Yeah. Beautiful song and beautiful voice. Wow, that's very amazing. So when people want to reach you, it's Irene Minor on YouTube.
Yeah, also on Facebook.
On Facebook.
And also on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure you out in the kitchen. And I can imagine how busy it gets, how hot it gets. And it's more of a male-dominated career.
Yeah.
So how are you managing? There could be a girl or somebody aspiring to be a chef.
You just have to be like you're really focused. Yes. And whenever you get that chance, you prove yourself. Like you try and the researches you do, yes, apart from what you've learned from class, and trying new things, so that at least when you're coming to the table, at least you have something to show. Yes. And yeah, just
how did you deal with disappointments? Like their clients, like they call for me the chef, I don't like the food. How are you dealing with it?
It was a bit tough, yes, and I am not very outspoken. Yes. So if you find me speaking, I'm like, I'm very sorry, and kindly let me know what you would like me to prepare for you, like another dish probably. There's an
apology meal.
Yeah, you try, and then there are those that are stubborn, and you're like, hey, wewe kula like, because it's just, yeah, but you try.
Yeah, most of us who are customers are always tempted to like complain. Maybe you had this appetite for this meal and then it comes, you're so disappointed. Yeah. And you can always see the eyes of the chef coming like, I'm sorry, what can I do for you? Can I do a dessert? And I can almost imagine the back kitchen, what happens.
It's crazy back there. Yeah. That's why it's written, it's for personnel only.
For personnel?
Yeah, you don't go inside there because it's just hell. Like, you really have to know your line.
Yeah.
There are so many people.
Yeah.
So you know your line, what you're supposed to be doing, what,
Yes.
as in like when I finish here, I call the other person. There's a person who's, maybe you're preparing the dish, then there's a person to do the garnishing.
Yes.
And then there's the other person to present on the table. So
Yes.
if one of that, in that line messes up,
Yeah.
it
All
still
of you are
comes
in
back to
trouble.
you. It
Yeah.
still comes back to you, the
Yes.
chef.
Oh,
But
great.
yeah.
Yeah, so I want to get into now your story about depression and addiction. So how did it come about?
Okay, what shall I say? Okay, I take you back. My dad is a pastor.
Oh,
And
amazing.
so when we were being brought up, he was very strict, like really, really strict. And
He's still alive and you
yeah,
want to.
yeah, he is. So like even the slightest mistake, he would beat you black and blue, like. So this time I've like cleared Form 4 and I'm at home, and yeah, we just couldn't agree on something, and he really beat me up, and I was so mad because this time I've already cleared Form 4. Why are you beating me like this?
Oh yeah, you felt you were a big girl.
Yeah, and considering that time, whatever I was saying, I was very right. But he wouldn't buy my story. So he chased me out.
Oh.
It was like, you've really grown big, you should leave. And I'm like, yeah, I should go. Even I wonder if you're my dad. Because he was very strict. And you know those dictators, those wale wazee wa kitambo, like what he says is what stands.
So there was no that negotiation, or you couldn't interact normally like her father?
No, not really. He didn't give us that chance.
So and where is your mom in all this?
My mom is just quiet,
Yeah.
laid back. She waits until everything is calm. That's when she says, hapo ulikosea. You know, like, when everything else has cooled down, like, hey, hey, so
But
this,
maybe it's a survival, because if she adds just a little firewood to the fire,
yeah,
that place
yeah,
will not be,
that-
yeah.
So that time I remember she was very sick, and she was actually bedridden. So we fought with my dad, and my dad was leaving for service that morning. So he said, I don't need you here. And I told her, yeah, sure. In fact, I'm very tired of taking care of your wife. So I just, because I was there, I was with my mom all along, she's not moving. And then he's adding stress and all that. And I'm like, it was just too much. So that time is when I voiced it out, because it was something that was like continuous. So I voiced it out, and I was like, I'm tired.
Your mom was sick for a while, or
Yeah.
it was just a brief?
No, she was sick for a while. She couldn't walk. She couldn't even get out of bed. You would do everything, like practically everything for her. So, yeah, it was just too much that
So
time.
you packed your bags?
So I packed, I talked to my mother, she cried, but I told her, you know what? That God who has kept you alive till now will still take care of you. I don't have to be here. If I'm here, my dad was going to kill me. It's either I kill him or I kill him, or he kills me. So I better leave. And he has already told me to go, so let me go. And she was like, how will I? I prepared food, I kept it there, and I told her, you know what? After like an hour, text him and tell him, your daughter has already left. So I left.
You texted him?
No, I told my mom to text the husband and tell him I already left. So I left, and she was like, how much do you have? I told her, I think I had 400 shillings. She was like, take this 1,000. So she gave me some money, and I left. She was like, where are you going? I told her, don't worry. I'm good. I'll just be fine. So I left.
Did you figure out where you're going? Or
That
you
time I didn't even have an idea where I was going. I think I was so mad that time. I didn't even know where I was going. And then she was like, then you call your sisters, what? So I called my sister, and then I came. They were working here in Nairobi. I came to Nairobi, and then after like a week, I got a job in Naivasha. I left. But that job now when I was leaving, I thought it was a hotel job, as in like the waiter or something. And then when I got there, like I was told the only vacancy we have is for washing utensils. So I was employed to wash utensils for like for a month. I think I would wash for, I was being paid 100 bob per day, and I washed those utensils. It was so stressful. And then yeah, I started drinking. Life was hard. Remember this time.
Now, with 100 bob, you had money to do. Right now, you had made
Remember,
friends.
I'm eating in the hotel.
Okay.
So I only go to sleep in my house.
Okay. So now you already have a house.
I have gotten like a house. Kalikuwa kajumba kama mabati. So like, yeah, that's I can survive. I don't care. So I started drinking, and I have friends also, and like I started drinking. It continued. I would even smoke. Remember this time I can't talk to my dad, and although he was a dictator, he was a good father. There are those moments I would remember, and like I can't go home because I already left home. I can't go back home.
And how is Mamo? Are you in communication?
No, I wasn't talking to her.
You were not even concerned about her health?
As much as I was concerned,
you were too mad.
I couldn't call because I know she would have cried on the phone, and maybe it would have made me go back home.
Okay.
So yeah, I didn't call. I stayed, and then I stayed in Naivasha, and then I was like, this work is not working for me. So I started to hawk porridge and mandazis.
Wow.
So I did that, and you know the Kanjos, the way they just come and harass you after you've sold everything. So they end up carrying the cups.
All the money.
You start again on Monday, you buy new things. That was bad life. Actually, I came to know, like, if you have a father, like, you stick with it. Actually, even if you're gone, they speak a blessing to your life, and your life goes better. Because that time I really struggled. I remember,
and of course, you're a young, bitter girl.
Yeah.
So you're trying to, whatever comes to your mind, you really don't care.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I remember I really hustled, but nothing was working. And I remember you could see me walking with the shoe, but chini inaacha footprint vizuri. Like when you're walking, like you can see a footprint of the leg, but I have a shoe on top. And then I decided, like, I need to go back to Nairobi. So I called my sister and told her, you know what, I don't even have fare to come back to Nairobi. So she sent me fare. I went back. I came, and then I got now a job here in Kengeles. By that time, I got it as a bartender. So I came.
So all this time, you're still drinking and doing all?
Yeah.
So you are not even having any savings?
No. Ilikuwa ikikuja meza, like, yeah. So I came, and now this one is where it came to the peak, because that time Kengeles was owned by a Mzungu, I remember, and he was paying very well. We also had bonuses, and also there is money tips from people, the customers. So there was good money. So like really it went a notch higher. Like I would really drink, and it got to a point that I couldn't even I couldn't write or take stock in the morning before taking something, because my hands would really shake, and my eyes, I could see they were blood vision. So like it was just bad.
Wow.
And then for me to really be able to work and talk to people, I had to smoke. Like Bhangi, I smoke and I feel very well.
You feel very
you feel energized.
Yeah.
Like, and you can face anyone, whoever comes. You know how it's difficult to deal with the drunkards.
Yeah.
So this time you like charged, you're like, hey, Zaeli papesa ama tukutoe nje, you know, like.
And you are this young girl.
And then I was very like number one, like this. So, like.
And you have the courage of a bull.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. Yeah, you just hold your story right there. Our viewers, that is just the beginning of the story of Irene. And when you look at her now and you listen to her story, she doesn't look it. And that is how God will turn around your life. Share with your friends and family. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. See you after the break. Oh, welcome back, Irene. So the story continues. So now you're now addicted to bangi, and you are smoking, you're drinking.
Yeah.
And did it affect your work?
No. The drinking part, mostly I would do it after work. It was just a small, those tots, the
Yes.
ones for just giving you energy in the morning.
Yes.
So I was always on the top of the game.
Yes.
And the bank was helping me to work well. Actually, my employers, whenever I told someone I'm leaving, they were just like, why? You're very industrious. You shouldn't go. You know, like no one ever, I have never been sacked because of being
And it was a
slacked at
secret
work.
you kept to yourself, or people knew about what you were doing?
Actually, like my siblings, they came to know of it later. And like my sister was very much like shocked. She was like, this one, you drink? And like, you know,
Wow.
they came to know later, but like my parents, they've never known. They don't know. Up to now, they don't know.
They might hear it now.
Maybe.
Oh, wow.
So we continued. I remember this time, but I took banking. I went to the peddler who used to buy, to sell to me, and he
By the way, come to think of it, where were you getting it from?
Kunaitwa mashimo. You need to know those places. There are specific places if you want the good stuff.
The good
You
stuff.
don't buy from just anyone.
There is bad stuff.
Yes,
Also in that.
of course.
Okay.
So you go, and then like this guy is the one who used to supply, and then I went and told me I don't have anything. I told him I can't survive like this. You need to give me something. It's like the one I have is from Ethiopia, and naonaka haitakufanyia kazi juu umezoea ingine. Like just give me. So I took, and I remember this time I took. It didn't work for me well. I remember this time I was not able to master it, or the body would not take it.
Because
so
it's
well.
different.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this time I remember I started seeing a river when I was going down the stairs.
You started seeing a
I
river.
saw and I really loved to wear heels, like very high heels, and I was this slender, so, and trousers. So I remember removing my shoes. And I'm like, why are these people just passing in the water?
There's a river
There's
here.
a lot of water here. So I tried to step, and I'm like, hey, my trouser. So nikakunja trouser after here on the stairs, and I was walking, and it was tough. So when I realized that hey, this thing is bad.
So you were still in your senses. There's something that was
Definitely,
telling you.
there's something that is telling you, like, because you're seeing everyone else. Everyone is just walking normally, but you're really struggling. And I remember that moment, even kuvuka barabara, it was really hard for me. You would see, like, it would really magnify things, and seeing things that are not there, you know.
Yeah.
It was just bad. That was just one of the incidences.
So what did you do? You went back home, or you just continued?
No, now you just go, you look for very kong kahawa, you take, you look for some cigarettes, you smoke. Try kushukisha sasa, like, yeah.
And that one you learn while practicing?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, nobody trains you for that.
You're not taught by anyone.
So they're looking at this beautiful girl, trousers up,
And
shoes
the
on the
shoes,
hand, and there are rivers that are invisible. Are you talking that time, or you're just quiet?
I wasn't that talkative.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So, yeah, but work continued like that, and until now, he started now like becoming too much. I think I've taken alcohol for over 7 years, plus the bangi, but it became too much until I felt like really I had to take, the stock back, like of the years I've been working all along, and there's nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
Like, you're still wherever you started. So I started looking back, and I'm like, where am I headed to? Who will I be? How will I live a life like this? So I started trying to reduce, but remember, this time is too much. Like, I'm really addicted because I remember there's a time I went to the hospital and the doctor would not, there's an injection I was supposed to take. It was like, tumekupima damu and the alcohol content is a lot kuliko maji kwa mwili. Wow. So kaniambia tukiweka hii shot unaweza zimia. Enda kwanza ukae bila pombe for some time, like 2-3 days, then you come. It was too bad because I couldn't. I'm like, please, afadhali nipatie ruhusa nikunywe chupa moja. You know, like, because I can't. The moment you try, I was trying to leave it, like there were the withdrawal syndromes. Yeah. You like start shaking, there's the vomiting, the hallucinations, DNA, all that. It was just in another level. But that's when I decided like I really wanted to just cut down. If possible, I can just live. So I decided to start going to church. I remembered.
For the first time?
Yeah.
So this time, were you able to reduce on your own, or did you require professional help? Or that's
I was able to cut down a little bit, but not much. At least the Bhang I reduced a bit. And now the alcohol I tried, but it wasn't working. So I started going to church. I tried going to these churches in town. So I went to one church, nikafukuzwa. I went.
Kwa nini? Did you cause chaos?
No. I went and they just looked at me. They were all stressed and they were like, no, just get out. And
wow.
then
that was very unfortunate.
Yeah, so I remember that day I went and I drank stupidly. Like, Mungu hujanihitaji bado, ukinihitaji you know, like.
And you didn't cause a sin, they just told you to walk out?
Of course I caused a sin. How do you just
No, like when you came in, you were calm?
I just came in and then I sat on one corner. It was a big church. So I sat on a corner and they were like, the ushers came and they told me, you need to get out of there. Utaenda ukae ile side ingine sasa on the tent na viti hazijaja. So I asked boy, kwani hizi viti ziko reserved for who? And like, no, you need to wear vizuri nini. Yeah, it didn't go well. So yeah, I told them mkae na hizo makanisa zenu tuone tutakutana je mbinguni. And I left. And I left. I went to another church. Now that church they just looked at me and baadaye katikati ya service sijui kama I don't know who spoke and thought that I was demon like or something. So they didn't pray for me, they just sent me out.
Again?
They were saying niko na roho mbaya. Yeah.
Kwani how bad were you?
I think I was terrible, like really terrible.
Wow. So no, it was now not even spiritual, it was discernible from the looks.
Yeah, so I left again. So I still like kulikuwa na hii like there's this you're being kuna mvuto fulani. I think that was the time like really God really wanted to work on me or really was working on me. So I didn't have peace ile tu ya kukaa niseme sitaki kwenda church. I had to go. So I decided like my father ministers with Deliverance Church. So I was like, let me go to hii church tu ya home. So I looked for a church karibu na kwenye nilikuwa naishi. I went there. At least there hakuna mtu alinifukuza. Actually I was welcomed.
Wow.
I was nikakaa tu huko nyuma. But then I remember that time the pastor was preaching about gates and altars. And then that day he had a pot, like he broke it and it was like, all of you are going to do it prophetically, like a prophetic action. You walk through the fragments of the pot as you disconnect yourself from whatever altars are speaking in your life. And he said like every other person, like if you're in this room, you have to pass through here. And they're standing there with pastors. So people would pass and me, I'm still stuck there. I didn't go. I was like, oh, this in the altars. So I really sat there at the back and they are really, people are coming. But I don't know, the only thing I don't understand is how I walked from there. I only found myself being prayed by pastors. I was down the moment nilishtuka. Nipata two pastors, they were praying for me. So I just ran and I went home. But kutoka hapo, I didn't have peace. Like, I have to go back. You have to go back. I was really troubled until then I decided. I reached out to the pastor's wife. There was a brochure they had given us. It had a number. I spoke to her. We met. She prayed for me. Yeah, and I got born again.
Amen.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how, all along I'm wondering, how is mom doing?
Mom she recovered after some time. She did call her husband. When I told her to call the husband, she called the husband. The husband came back and took care of her. She got well. We used to talk once in a while, once, but I never used to go home.
And did your dad ever reach out to you all
Yeah,
these 7
he
years?
was trying. He really kept trying, but I never used to pick his calls.
Wow. Was he remorseful or what was this?
Okay, that time I think, like, just how fathers are, like, you keep wanting to know how your children are doing.
Yeah.
So he would really try and ask, why, kwa nini akuje nyumbani? And I wouldn't go. And then at least when I met this pastor, he talked to me and I decided to reach out. So I reached out and he was like, hey, I've been waiting for you, come home. So I just went, we made up and we are friends now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good, and you've forgotten all those bad days.
Yeah.
Wow, has it toned now with age?
He's very nice nowadays. Yeah, all those, hardness, it went down, it melted. Like,
It melted down.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's good.
That's interesting. So at what point now did you decide to become a chef? In all this?
Just till this time I was addicted. When I started, when I came to Kengeles, I was after working in the bar, that's when I started now going to school, evening classes. I attended evening classes. I learned how to cook, so I wanted to move from being a bartender, and I moved backwards. As in I started doing in the kitchen. So that's when I started learning.
So you were still doing something constructive, all the same?
Of course, you have to become something at some point. Yeah.
Wow. So what is so different after you encountered Jesus? Did the addiction go right away? Did the desires to drink go away, or how was the journey?
It wasn't easy, and actually I really struggled. I'm not this person who just says that you got saved and you just left it pop, because there's something that I require, like, inside. So, but I thank God that the pastor that I had they really worked with me. And they really helped me. And anytime they would imagine they have prayed for me, I've gotten saved, and then they're like, hey, can I see you? And then when I'm coming, I'm still smelling alcohol. And then they were just like, you can do it.
Wow.
They never condemned me. They just tell me, just try. Have you gone for a week? Like, no, just try. Fikisha 1 week without tasting anything.
Wow.
So we continued like that, and then they kept talking to me. Actually, I respect that man. He taught me how to pray, how to read the Bible, devotion. Like,
because you had already unlearned that with all the others.
Me, that one, I sikuwa natambua. Like, it's being the one, I think I would say it's better, yes, you teach your children about God, but you don't force it on them.
Yeah.
Like, you just keep telling them about God and let them decide for themselves.
Yes.
Now this one, we were like, umeokoka na umeokoka zaidi. So you're like, nimeokoka, and you're like, moving like this.
So you are actually managing out of fear.
Yeah.
Not out of a personal encounter.
How do you say you are not saved? Where? Urudi kwa nani? You had to think, yes, I'm very saved. So, yeah, as in, like, now I had to be taught, like, completely from the beginning again. But I learned. I was able to I started praying for myself. And in between there is when I was crying to God and telling God, God, I really don't want these bad habits again. I don't want to live again like this. So yeah, he worked on me, and probably in a month's time, I wasn't doing it again.
In a month's time?
Yeah, after I got born again.
That was supernatural.
Yeah.
Yeah, because ordinarily it will take, like, in rehab, they are given maybe 90 days.
Yeah.
So that was supernatural. Wow.
Yeah.
Great. Our viewer, my guest is Irene, and you can hear her testimony about the deliverance of God. And it doesn't matter what you're facing right now. Don't give up. God still has an answer for you. Don't touch that dial as we listen to the last part of her story, her music, her writing, and where God has brought her this far. See you after the break. So Irene, now you have had an encounter with Jesus, and you've said in 1 month you were able to overcome the addiction. What are the things you battled with in this 1 month? Like probably the bitterness you had towards your father, the addiction, all that. How did you process that?
Okay, the part, okay, it's a process you go through, and like I had to accept, like a parent is a parent.
Yes.
And they do everything as in according to them. They are doing it for your own benefit.
Good. Yeah.
So in as much as we didn't understand each other, somehow he was on the right too.
Yes.
However, maybe the way he brought it out was maybe the one, it wasn't supposed to be like that, but he meant well. So I decided, and I really needed him in my life.
Yes.
So I had to really forgive him. I actually wrote down on a paper, and I'm like, I forgive you for all those things I would, there's like a list you have. And
yeah, like, a list you have.
And you wrote it painfully. And I was crying. But I wrote it down, and then I was like, hey, I still need this man. So, yeah, I said I will reach out. And because all this while he was trying to reach out, and I had blocked him. So that is how I started healing. And the fact that he was also open, he welcomed me with open arms. That was also a plus. I didn't have to go and beg, oh please, oh please. He was just there and like, hey, Daddy.
You were shocked.
I've missed you. You're like, yeah, even me, I've missed you too. So it began, and we agreed, hakuna kukasirikiana tena. So we agreed
hakuna kukasirikiana.
We agreed on that.
Mom was just quietly watching.
She was there and saying, mundo na ithe. Yeah, we became friends. That was it. And then, so afterwards, and then also leaving the drugs away and seeing the progress I was having, the much I could, it was also in a small span, that 1 month, but I would feel there was this peace. And also, like, you're really not struggling with anything at that moment, like, lazima nipate, like when you kosa, like, alcohol in your veins, and you're like, unasikia kiu ingine haishi. Like,
so actually what was missing in your life was peace, and you were trying to fill it up with all these things. Yeah,
it was like a vacuum, and I'm really looking for things to just fill it, and it wasn't there. But now this time I'm contented, I'm doing well, and I'm like, hey. So
so were you using your gift of music then, or it came out?
No,
later?
I wasn't. It came out after. Now I got born again, and then I went, and then the pastor asked me, where can you be serving in church? You need to be serving somewhere.
Yes.
So I told him I can try praise and worship, so I went there.
And he didn't mind.
Oh, he asked me, you can sing? I said, yeah, I can try. So I went. I found another guy who was very strict. Yes. So I sat under him, and after a year, he's like, I didn't prepare you doing Sunday service. Like, hey, then we were living with another lady and I'm telling her, hey, wewe ndio backup. So I sing, ananiambia hapo umekosea.
Wow.
So come Sunday morning, we prayed, you fasted the whole week. And then the leader of the service has started and he's given you the microphone and like, this guy comes from behind and tells you, "Sio leo." He takes the mic. "Sio leo." Yeah, like, hey.
"Sio leo."
It was tough. He did me that so many times until I was like, I don't want to lead. Even when he tells me you're going to answer, you know what? You just go ahead and lead. I don't want to lead.
Why would he do that?
He was just, it was his way of training me. I don't know. But the more, actually, if you keep denying me, that's when I keep pushing.
Oh, yes.
So this time, even if he wouldn't give me this chance to lead, I would go home and cry to God and like, God, if you really want me to sing, why don't you give me a chance? Or what are you, okay, then give me that voice at least.
That will qualify me.
Exactly, because this is too much.
And he didn't explain to you what was wrong?
No, he never said anything. So this one day I just come and pastor is like, I want that girl to sing. I was not even prepared. I had not done even the practice we used to do in the house. So I'm like, what am I going to sing? But I just stood and I'm just grateful. I just saw people clapping and I'm like, hey, sit me with singing. I'm like, Jesus, so I can sing. Thank you very much.
Wow.
So it started from there. I started singing. And remember this time now I went to music school. It was called, I think, Sauti Academy. Yeah, I went there. But then I found another teacher, and then that teacher was like, you sing like a frog. You cannot sing. Who lied to you?
Who lied to you can sing?
I left, and I had paid the fees, so I left. I came back and I was crying. I met my pastor. I was like, Daddy, imagine they said I sing like a frog. I was like, no, believe in yourself. So later I went to Daystar University. I did music again with Helen Mutawali. And yeah.
Helen is a good coach. And she actually says everybody has a good singing voice.
Yeah. So,
wow, and you found yourself.
Yeah, I did.
So how many songs have you done so far?
I've done 5 songs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, and I'm still working with them.
Yes.
But I'm grateful because at some point there's a time I got ill, and I really got ill, and my spinal cord was not working. And I went to the hospital. I remember I was on the altar ministering, and then I started feeling pain, very sharp pain on my back, and I couldn't walk. From then, when I went to sit down, I couldn't rise up from the seat. So I had to be carried home, like literally. My legs, as in from the waist downwards, it was not functioning. It was very numb. Even if you pinch, I wouldn't feel anything. So it started like that, and then I went to the hospital. They were like, the discs at the back had bulged, and then they were lying on the nerves, so the nerves could not coordinate very well. So I stayed like that for some few months, I think about 9 months. 9 months? Yeah.
Were you going for therapy, or what was happening?
Yeah, I used to do physios. I had medication for the nerves and pain, but it was so painful. But all this while, I never stopped serving.
Wow.
Remember, this time now, at least God has helped me. I've become a worship leader. So you can imagine you're leading and you're sitting down.
Were you on a wheelchair at that time?
I wasn't. But I used to be carried by my friends. But I told them I can't stay at home. So they would organize a vehicle, would come and pick me up and bring me to church. And even at times I would minister, they would carry me and help me stand on the podium. And then I just lean on the podium and I would minister, and it is just wow. And then I would go home and cry. I'm like, God, what is this? Why am I like this? Why can't you just give me those? You know, there are those people you tell them, just clap your hands, and they are looking at you. And I'm like, Mungu usinipatie tu miguu kama ile, uone venye nitakufanyia. You know,
wow.
And you're not moving. Remember this time, even rising from the bed, it's very hard. It would take me minutes to get to the toilet, like 20 minutes to go to the toilet, because you have to keep dragging yourself. Remember, waist downwards is not working.
Yeah.
So, but I kept doing therapy. And I remember this time the more I kept insisting, I was telling God, if I was laying at the altar, I will keep coming there until the day you remember me on that altar.
Wow.
So I remember this time there was an anointing service, and I went. I was there, and the pastor called, and it's like, hey, you people just stand up, let's pray for this girl. So people started praying and praying and praying, and I was just down there. And then I went, afterwards, the prayers ended, I went home. I still could not walk. I went home. And these people were very disappointed. You would see in their faces, like they were really disappointed.
Why could you not give us that miracle?
So I went home, and I just told God, you know what? I still believe you can do it. And I'm trusting that you're going to do it. So I slept. Then in the morning, I'm called. I received a call. I was woken up by that call, and when I received the call, it was a long call for about 30 minutes. When I was done is when I realized I'm sitting down, as in unsupported.
Wow.
I'm just sitting like, hey, how am I sitting? So I rose, and I like, hey, I started lifting my legs. I started running and screaming in the house. I was alone.
Wow.
Screaming and like, hey, God. So I can walk. I started running around, going down the stairs and coming back. I started calling people, you know what, I can walk. Wow. It happened like that. And then after that, I remember at times it is good whenever God does something for you, it's good to testify. Yeah. So I went to church. The people who saw me being carried on Friday, on Sunday saw me walking. And when I got there, I went, and the devil was really whispering to me and saying like, hey, wewe unaenda kutestify, and
na ukijipata
probably kesho utakuwa ukibebo, unaenda kufanya nini?
Wow.
So I sat down. I didn't testify. I just sat down, and I went, and ukweli, in 2 days time I was carried by a vehicle. I was alighting from the vehicle, and the driver decided to move when one leg was down and one was in the car, and so Jesus. The pain came back. I came back double of that. But I kept on pushing. And praying and telling God, if you did it that time, even now you can do it again. It took time, yes. It was a time that I kept asking God questions. And at times I would really cry and all that. But at least he had me at some point. I also went back to church, and I was still ministering. And so this time now, we just went for, it was a praise and worship meeting. We met, and the pastors were around that day, so they started to pray. Just praying. We started to pray, all of us. It was not necessary for me to get well. We were just praying. We just prayed. Na nikitoka hiyo meeting, I was okay.
Wow.
I really
Second
walked.
time.
Yes. So this time
you testified.
I testified.
You couldn't lose your legs again.
Yes, I testified. Wow. And kutoka hapo, whenever you see me, if I'm leading praise, they're like, today we are really jumping. You know, like I tell people, you know, if you have your legs, use them. Because me, I'm like, if I sit like this, God can take these legs out.
If he takes them, I can't.
I can't. It was hell that time.
Wow.
So I just...
That's baptism into fire.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Irene, for sharing your story. Unfortunately, our time is up, but we are going to hear your song. The one you sang.
Yeah.
What is the title of the song?
It's called Sifa.
Sifa.
Yeah.
Wow, great. Our viewers, so as you listen to that song, is just a foundation of great testimonies of what God has done, that she's giving God praise. So thank you for watching. Share with your friends and family about Gorgeous Woman Show. Until we see you next time. Bye-bye.